There are about 41 rides at the Universal Orlando Resort. 12 of them are from Universal Florida, 17 of them are from Islands of Adventure, 11 of them are from Epic Universe, then there's the Hogwarts Express between Islands of Adventure and Universal Florida. Today, I'm going to be ranking every single ride I did at that resort, ranging from worst to best. Take note that we didn't go to Universal Florida, so I won't be including any rides that are in that park. And just real quick, let's go through all the rides I didn't go on when we were at Islands or Epic. Popeyes, Carol Sustel, Pteranodon Flyers, the Hogwarts Express for obvious reasons, Fire Drill, and Constellation Carousel. Out of the 41 rides, I will be ranking 23 of them. So without further ado, I give you in last place, we have One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. This is really the only bad ride on the list, probably because I didn't go to Universal Florida. Anyway, this is basically just Islands' version of Dumbo from Disneyland. It's super basic and doesn't need explaining. One thing I do find cool about this ride is that there are water jets for summer, and I'm pretty sure that's the main reason this is the most popular ride in Seuss Landing, because Orlando's always an active oven. We didn't get to experience the water jets because when we went, it was below 50 degrees, and on the day we went on this ride, it got down to 29. At number 22, we have the Sky in the High Seuss Trolley Train Ride. What are these names? This ride's actually not that bad. I would have put it higher if it weren't for that dang narrator. And yes, I know that's the point of the ride, but he kind of just ruins the experience for me. Like, I just want to enjoy the Christmas-themed Seuss Landing without hearing a rhyme every 2 seconds. Other than that, this ride's not that bad. I think it's a great way to relax from all the thrill rides in this park. At number 21, we have Storm Force Acceleration. Finally, a decent ride name. And yep, that's 2 for 2 with Disney clones. Now looking at this ride, you'd think that there's not much going for it. But surprising enough, this ride doesn't have much going for it. This is the most basic flat ride, and it's not even that bad. It's kind of just mediocre at best. Not to mention, this ride is tucked deep inside Marvel Superhero Island. I mean, both Doctor Doom and Spider-Man have big entrances where you can see, and you'd have to be legally blind to not see Hulk. And this is just behind Hulk, like the Imagineers were like, alright, Hulk can go over here where everyone can see it. Ooh, Spider-Man could go over there right next to Doctor Doom. But sir, what about Storm Force Acceleration? We could put it where everyone thinks the land stops and sits to take a break. Perfect. At number 20, we have Dragon Racers Rally. I talked about this in my Epic Universe video, and I said that this ride kind of looks like a carnival ride, and I still stand by that statement. One thing I do like about this ride is the pre-show, if you can even call it that. I like the video that plays, but other than that, this ride's kind of a letdown. I don't know why, but I had high expectations for this ride, and I was just pretty disappointed at the end. They say in the video that you can, like, do a barrel flip multiple times, but my family tried and they got nothing, so I didn't try because I'm a wimp and I didn't want to flip myself. But hearing everyone's experience with this ride, I don't think I could have flipped myself even if I wanted to. At number 19, we have Rang-A-Kong. This is basically the 4D moment in the studio tour at Hollywood. I do like the ending with that giant King Kong animatronic, but like that's the whole point you'd even go on it in the first place. Everything else is just a 3D effect. And if you're seeing my Epic Universe video, you know that I don't like 3 or 4D rides. I want to know the ride by going on it and not watching it through POV. Other than the 3D glasses and the King Kong animatronic, there's not much else to say about this ride. I mean, there is the queue, but I already went over it in my top 10 queues video. There is a water effect because, again, still Orlando. Every ride in Orlando needs some sort of water feature, or else people will just die of a heat stroke. At number 18, we have Cat in the Hat. This is the best ride in Seuss Landing, which isn't saying a lot because this ride's just kind of alright. These animatronics are 100% the scariest part of this ride. Holy cow, I did not know I went on the non-water version of It's a Small World, so if they're planning on keeping this ride, which I hope they do because I genuinely enjoyed this ride, they need to update the animatronics. I'd probably put this in A tier if the animatronics weren't ripped straight out of Five Nights at Freddy's. I do want to give this ride the achievement of a good queue, this and King Kong. At number 17, we have Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. Now, I know most of you Nintendo fans are going to start typing your comments and flaming me in the comments, but I want to get this out there. I love Mario. Mario Kart is probably one of my favorite video games of all time. I just don't care for this ride, and I have a story because of it. Let me explain. When the concept art for Super Nintendo World came out, I was jumping for joy. I was insanely hyped for an entire themed land to one of my favorite franchises of all time. And when we finally got to go to Universal Studios in 2023 for the first time ever, I was so excited at the fact that we were going to be able to go into Super Nintendo World. When we went, Super Nintendo World was about 6 weeks old, so it was still super fresh. So we waited about 2 hours for Mario Kart. Now I know to most of you, 2 hours for a practically new ride is really freaking good. But what you've got to understand is the fact that the longest wait we have ever waited was an hour for Rise of the Resistance. So this was super long for us. Anyway, what I'm saying is that we all had really high expectations for this ride, and we all thought it was an indoor roller coaster themed to Mario Kart. And oh boy, were we all let down when we realized 2 hours later that this was not a coaster, but a point system ride. And when my 11-year-old brain realized that this was not an indoor thrill ride and just a Mario themed Toy Story ride, I was crushed. I spent 2 hours waiting for a ride that I was never gonna get. Well, they did make a Donkey Kong themed roller coaster, but that was also a letdown. But we'll get into that later. I came off that ride with the worst attitude ever, and I wasn't the only one. My entire family was also in a bad mood with me. But going on it nowadays, I find it a lot more enjoyable. But if you were to ask me where I placed this ride back in 2023, it would have been at the very, very bottom. At number 16, we have Flight of the Hippogriff. This ride is super self-explanatory. It's your basic cookie-cutter roller coaster. It's not much, but it gets the job done in this land. It's just not even close to being as good as the other two rides in Hogsmeade. At number 15, we have Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. I'm about to have the SWAT team break down my door for having this ride so low. Look, this ride is good, great even. But again, we waited 2.5 hours for this ride and our expectations were super, super high. Not to mention we waited for this ride at rope drop. So when we got off of it, it was already noon. And again, after we got off of it, all of our reactions were just disappointment. The whole ride is just screens with like 2 or 3 animatronics out of like 4 minutes of ride time. I am now wondering what is the most overrated ride at Epic Universe. This or Minecart Madness. And if I'm going to be completely honest here, it might actually be this ride, because at least I'm a Donkey Kong fan. I know virtually nothing about Harry Potter, or Fantastic Beast, whatever this ride is based off of. I would genuinely rather ride Yoshi's than this, because at least I'm a Yoshi and Donkey Kong fan. So you know what? The short where I said that Minecart Madness was the most overrated ride in the park is no longer relevant. That title has officially been given to Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. Sorry, where was I again? Oh yeah, ranking every single ride at Orlando. Speaking of Nintendo, at number 14 we have Yoshi's Adventure. I can already hear the Harry Potter fans screaming at me in the comments. Do you rather ride a kiddie ride than the greatest thing to happen to Universal, period? Don't you dare call this a kiddie ride. I don't care what y'all say. This ride is genuinely the best thing in the Super Mario Land. This ride also won Best Queue in my Top 10 Queues video. So not only did this ride slaughter Battle at the Ministry, but it also has the best queue. Once again, Yoshi proving he's the best dinosaur of all time, right next to Rexy, of course. One thing I did not like about this ride was the egg hunt. I don't know if the system was just super scuffed the one day I went, but I could not get any of the buttons to work. So unfortunately, just a few points taken off Yoshi. At number 13, we have Dr. Doom's Fearfall. I am one to love drops. If a ride maxes out its top speed through a drop and not a launch, you have my attention. I mean, you're watching a video from someone who likes Guardians of the Galaxy more than Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland, so I mean, who am I to say anything? Honestly, I think I'm the only one in my entire family to actually like this ride. Everyone was kind of let down the same way they got let down from Mario Kart back in 2023, but me, I really enjoyed it. That first launch upward is super thrilling and honestly caught me off guard a lot. But then everything after that is kind of just jumping jellyfish from DCA. Then there's the story. It is so stupid to the point where it's actually kind of good. Like, Dr. Doom is trying to extract fear fuel from us by scaring us on the ride, and the fear fuel is supposed to make explosions. Like, dude, there are these things called nukes. I know he's smart enough to make one because he discovered this fear fuel stuff. He has the intelligence, just none of the common sense. I do enjoy the video that plays in the queue, but I already went over that in my queue video. At number 12, we have Minecart Madness. Now, I know I made a whole video clowning on this ride for saying it's a failed attempt of a Donkey Kong coaster, but I do genuinely like this ride and don't think it's garbage. I do think it's very overrated with the wait times it gets, but I also don't think it's because of the amount of people, it's because of the rotation. I'm pretty sure the capacity is like 900 people an hour. That is really, really bad. Monsters Unchained can cycle over 2,500 people an hour, for reference, which is probably why Monsters Unchained gets wait times lower than some coffee shops. I'm looking at you, you, Starbucks. Yeah, that pumpkin bread was not worth the 40-minute wait. Anyways, I think this ride is great. At the end of the day, it's a donkey-themed roller coaster. I just think there's lots of room for improvement. I'm still salty about those hours wasted going back and forth trying to ride this ride. At number 11, we have Curse of the Werewolf. This ride also gave us a headache trying to get on. Single rider was literally closed all day, like it was never open. But we straight up refused to wait and stand by because the wait was over an hour all day. But we had to ride it at some point, so at the end of the day, we ended up waiting around 30 minutes for it. This ride is basically just spinning Flight of the Hippogriff. It's not that impressive, but it goes backwards. I do think it was a missed opportunity to make the werewolf an animatronic instead of just a static figure. Still not as good as the only other ride in Dark Universe. Alright, we're in the top 10 best rides at the Universal Orlando Resort, so from now on, I'll probably wait like an hour for each of these rides. At number 10, we have Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. This is an amazing dark ride. I mentioned this in my Monsters Unchained video, and I'll say it again. I love the Kuka ride system. It is by far my favorite dark ride system. I do think Forbidden Journey isn't my favorite out of all the Kuka ride system rides because of those dang screens. And these screens make up like half the ride duration. But the ride system and animatronics make up for the screens. My favorite part of Forbidden Journey is definitely the Wump and Willow part. You almost go upside down with how the arm swings you back. It's so fun, and this ride never gets more than a 40-minute wait because of that one other ride in Hogsmeade. At number 9, we have Dudley Do-Right Ripsaw Falls. And here we go again with the goofy-on names. This is basically your average log water ride. You wander through a story where you're going up hills and dropping into like little dips of water, and at the end you go down a one big giant slide where you get drenched. Now, when I went on this, I had a poncho, so I thought I was ready and good to go, only for me to walk on the ride and realize that my poncho was ripped. The entire time, I was trying to cover it up just to make sure that no water leaked through, but it was no match for the drop at the end. I was drenched from the legs down, but I shouldn't even be complaining, because my brother, who was the only other person to go on this with me, and didn't even have a poncho, got absolutely soaked. And to make it even funnier, we got paired with two other people who got front row, so I asked them, can we have the front row? And before Bentley could fight it, the cast member was already switching us around because the people in front of us agreed to it, obviously, because it was 40 degrees outside. Bentley was not happy with me after that. But yeah, this ride's awesome, mainly because of that one incident. At number 8, we have Spider-Man. Now, I know I just said that screens take a ride down, and this ride is literally just screens. I don't know why, but this ride is just so fun. The mindless action makes this ride really, really fun, and also, I really enjoy the ride systems. The key was pretty cool too, with the video that plays kind of like Doctor Doom, and also the office environment. Even if this ride is pretty screen-based, it gets a pass in my books. At number 7, we have Jurassic Park River Adventure. Now, there are two versions of this ride. The Jurassic Park version, which is in Orlando, and the Jurassic World version that's in Hollywood. Personally, I like the Hollywood version better, but that doesn't mean this one's bad either. In fact, I'd say that there's some stuff that this version does better than Hollywood, like the beginning. In Hollywood, it's just the Mosasaurus on a screen. But in this version, there's actual animatronics. Yes, they're older than the $1 menu at McDonald's, but they're still better than just screens. Unlike Ripsaw Falls, we actually all went on this. Probably because our entire family loves Jurassic Park, and we went on this first before Ripsaw Falls, and it was like 40 degrees outside, but you take what you can get. At number 6, we have the Incredible Hulk coaster. This is the most intense roller coaster I have ever been on. Like, oh my gosh, this ride is an actual monster coaster. This does not feel like Universal. This feels like Six Flags. However, what is so amazing about this coaster that no other coaster of this does is that its max speed is a drop and not a launch. Hulk launches you at 40 miles an hour and you barrel roll into a drop that sends you 67 miles an hour, which is crazy, by the way. Oh yeah, the inversions. There's 7 of them. Like, what? I don't think I've ever been destroyed by a coaster more than when I went on Matterhorn. My neck was cooked when I got off of that. So obviously, we wouldn't go on it again, right? Wrong. We went on it 8 more times on that trip. I mean, the longest wait we waited was like 30 minutes, so I mean, we had to. There was one time we rode it, got off of it, got in line again, and rode it again in like a span of 10 minutes. So yeah, Hulk destroyed my neck, but it's still a really, really fun coaster. At number 5, we have Stardust Racers. This is the prettiest coaster I've ever seen. The sleek coaster design and the coaster track is just, it's beautiful to watch. I could watch this coaster all day. Them racing in sync to the music, it's just so satisfying to watch. It's beautiful. Oh yeah, the music. This is by far my favorite theme park soundtrack of all time. It is the best coaster soundtrack I have ever listened to. And don't even get me started on a nighttime package with this ride. This is pretty much a perfect coaster, with it being the fastest ride in Epic and also the most efficient ride in Epic, or just ever. I mean, this ride can cycle over 3,000 people an hour. So why only number 5? How is it only number 3 on the Epic Universe ranking? Well, I do think the ride is a bit rough. Not Hulk level rough, but still rough enough to the point where I got injured on it. And the next ride fixes that. So at number 4, we have Hiccup's Wing Gliders. This ride takes everything I said about Stardust being a perfect coaster and just adds being smooth. I have no idea why, but I'm like the only person in my family to glaze this coaster. They were all praising Stardust, which I get it. Stardust is a very fun and thrilling coaster, but sometimes you need to take a break from all the large, thrilling rides and just do a nice family coaster once in a while. This ride combines thrill and family coaster, and it's just a bit more calm than Hagrid's and a bit more thrilling than Curse the Werewolf. The 2 animatronics at the beginning of this ride definitely give this ride extra points. The toothless animatronic at the beginning definitely is the most impressive out of the 2. The sad part is that you launch off so quickly, so you can't really pay attention to him. And what's even weirder is that for the second launch, you just sit there. Like, you have so much time to think and look at what's around you. But those animatronics aren't nearly impressive as the 2 at the beginning that you don't even get to look at. The only other good animatronic is Hiccup, and you don't even get to see him either. In fact, I full-on missed him until when we got back from our trip and I watched a POV of the ride, and then I noticed him. So that was a fun moment. At number 3, we have Monsters Unchained. I made a whole review video for this ride, so if you want more full detail on it, then just go watch that. This ride has the same ride system as Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, and you know me, I love that Kuka ride system, and they use it even better in Monsters Unchained, because of the lack of screens. Yes, there's still some, but they're kind of required, and they're blended in with the environment, so you don't really notice them that much. But when it comes to the animatronics, this ride does not miss. Except for one. There are 14 high-tech animatronics all throughout this ride. There's even 2 inside the pre-show. Oh yeah, the pre-shows. They're some of the best I've ever seen. Unfortunately, you can't experience these pre-shows if you go into single rider, kind of like what we did. We did eventually go into standby a few times at the end of the night just to experience these pre-shows, and I am so happy we did. I say this in my Monsters Unchained video, and I'll say it again. This trumps every single Disney dark ride I've ever been on. I still love them, but when you compare it to this masterpiece, it's just no competition. And at number 2, we have Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. This is the smoothest coaster I have ever been on. This ride combines great thrills, amazing story, great animatronics, and just combines it all into this one of the best coasters I've ever been on. I told this story in my Hagrid's Experience video, but we had some pretty bad luck with this ride considering that single rider was closed the entire time we were there, and we waited 3 hours for what we thought was an hour and a half. So if you want full details and just the whole story, go watch my video. But what I didn't say in my other video were my thoughts and feelings on the ride. My favorite part of this ride is 100% the vertical spike into the backwards launch. The transition into it is just amazing. The fact that you can't even process your going up and then down until you're already going down is amazing, because you can't see the spike ahead of time. It's fully hidden from the outdoor queue, and it's by far the best element of this ride. Then you go into the cave, and...
Woo! I was close. Now we just need...
This is the best way to cap off the ride and give it one last thrill factor. I love this ride for its perfect balancing of a thrilling and family coaster to make this the second best ride at this resort. But Connor, if you think this ride is so perfect, why isn't it number 1? Well, that's a perfect transition into number 1. I don't think this is a surprise to anybody who's seen my content, but I can't get over how much I love this ride. Velocicoaster is a high-speed steel launch coaster, created by Intamin and is by far the second most intense ride at the Universal Orlando Resort. And as of recording this video, this ride stands at number 1 of the fastest ride at any Universal park in the world. until Hollywood Drift opens, and then yeah, this will be number 2. But it's not just the 70-mile-an-hour launch that makes this ride one of the best to go on, or the 4 inversions, or the amazing queue, or even the 155-foot top hat. It's everything. If this coaster didn't have a top hat, it wouldn't have the icon of the coaster. If it didn't have the barrel roll, it wouldn't have that perfect ending across the lake. If it didn't have an amazing queue, it'd be a pain to wait through. Kinda like Hagrid's. Sorry, Hagrid's. That's your one weakness. I guess that's one thing my April Fool's short can justify. But Velocicoaster is the definition of perfection in my books. Not everyone's gonna have the same opinion. People could say that this ride scares them so much that they don't want to go on roller coasters ever again. And those people are entitled to their opinion. But as it stands now, Velocicoaster will be, and probably always will be, my favorite roller coaster and ride of all time. Although that Minecraft roller coaster does look promising, and I haven't been on either versions of Hollywood Drift, so yeah, my opinion could change at some point, but I doubt it. So congratulations, Velocicoaster, you have won my favorite ride of all time. In conclusion, that Universal trip will always stay one of the best trips I've ever taken. Not only did it open my eyes on what wait times could actually get to, but it's home to some of my favorite rides of all time. Velocicoaster, Hagrid's, Stardust, Monsters Unchained, and even Minecart Madness. Even though that ride gave me such a big headache, it's still a really good ride. So what you can see the track underneath. So what that the ride breaks down more than McDonald's ice cream machines. So what it gets unreasonable wait times. It's Donkey Kong, it's gonna be popular. Universal Orlando will and always stay the best theme park out there. Thank you all for watching. This video took me hours to script write, record, and edit. And I don't even have a big subscriber count. But I still work tirelessly on these videos because, well, I enjoy making them. YouTube is a super fun thing for me to do, and doing this allows me to express how much I love theme parks. So again, thank you all for watching this very long, unreasonably edited video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.